Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I have just been working around the garden this morning, just getting some chores done. I ended up finally being able to direct sow those moonflowers around my greenhouse. I had attempted to sow them indoors and I had some issue with the soaking process. The seeds ended up turning mushy. I soaked them again for less time this time, and I direct seeded them right around the greenhouse. So hopefully those beautiful moonflowers will grow up and over the greenhouse, giving the greenhouse a little bit of shade, but then also having those big, beautiful flowers that can reflect the light of the moon and of the hose-link solar lights I have out here. The other thing I did was sow some sunflowers, and those, instead of direct sowing, I decided to sow them in cell trays because I'm not totally sure where I want them just yet. So I thought it would just be easier to sow them in these 3-inch cell tray or 3-inch pots. All of these are branching sunflowers, which are my favorite. I love the single stem sunflowers because they're usually bigger and really, really beautiful, but you only get one flower out of those. And I'm not really growing sunflowers for like a cut flower garden. I'm growing them for my landscape. So therefore, I really love branching sunflowers because when they die off, when they're done, you can just deadhead them and it'll keep blooming. So I have a couple different varieties. I have Sorea. I always pronounce that wrong. I apologize. Sorea. That's a beautiful one that I've grown many, many years and I love it. Buttercream is just exactly what it sounds like. It's the most beautiful buttery yellow sunflower. Gorgeous. I'm thinking I want to put this one around my gazebo. I think that will be really pretty with the purple that I have there. Then I have, let's see, Desert Sun, Strawberry Blonde, and then Chocolat. So that, I think it should be really fun. I'm probably going to do another round of these as well, and then start planting them out into the garden all around. I really want a lot of sunflowers this year. I always feel like I say that every single year, but I really want a lot of sunflowers this year. Then I wanted to show you guys my indoor tomatoes. I actually have some fruit. Isn't that exciting? Let's see. I know I have more than just one. Oh yeah, here's 2 more down here. Can you see that? One here, and then I know there was, oh yeah, one right here too. Now this one looks like it definitely is needs some nutrients, so I actually fertilized them this morning. So we'll see if it can kind of bounce back a little bit. I'm a little worried because it's getting really, really hot here in the greenhouse, like really hot. Like look at this. This just fried. So I'm gonna have to start taking all of this stuff out of the greenhouse pretty soon. And I'm just hoping that I get some fruit off my tomatoes before it gets too hot. And then I do have my beautiful Lavandula right here. Look at how gorgeous this is. So this whole setup, this is Rose Sensation Lavandula. This whole setup, I was hoping for it to perform a little bit better before it got too hot here in the greenhouse, but you can kind of see how far it got. And I'll keep you guys updated for how far I actually get with these tomatoes before they basically just fry in here. Then it's just getting to that point of the season where everything's starting to warm up, which is wonderful, but that also means that we got to bump up the watering. So I'm just walking around and I'm checking to make sure all of the plants are well watered, and I actually think we're going to bump up our drip irrigation. Right now we're doing it 3 times a week, and I think we're going to have to bump it up to probably every day. Ugh, I don't want to say that, like it's always a tough time because we're really warm. Today I think we're going to get into the high 70s, and then tomorrow we'll even be in the 80s, but then it's going to go back down to the 60s next week. So it's basically just that time of year that you really have to watch it. So my main goal for today is to plant my March blooming garden. My blooming garden is an exercise that I started last year where every single month I planted something that I knew that was going to be blooming that month, pretty much that month, every single year, whether it's a perennial or whether it's a shrub. And the goal of the exercise was to make sure that I had variable bloom times throughout my garden, because it's really easy to go to the garden center this time of year when everything's starting to look really beautiful, and then all of a sudden your whole garden blooms in May and June and then nothing the rest of the year. So the blooming garden was an exercise that I decided to do to make sure that I had blooms all season long, and it was really, really fun. I know a lot of you really liked it and joined in as well. So I decided to do it for a second year, and I of course am on March, and let me show you guys what I picked out for March. I probably put it in the thumbnail. You probably already saw it. And it is actually right here in this raised bed in front of my willow tree. And I also have 3 other lavender plants. These are actually lavandins over here, and then I have 1 Spanish lavender, and these were all here when we moved into this house. And I have to say, it was kind of funny. We used to have, there was 3 plum trees right here all in a line, and this Spanish lavender was planted right directly underneath one of the big plum trees, and so it got like full shade, and this guy was suffering when we first moved here. So we ended up having to cut out those plum trees because they were sick, and as soon as we cut them out and this Spanish lavender started getting more sun, it like tripled in size in like a year, and you can see how happy it is. Now I'm not planning on leaving all of this stuff here. I am planning on like renovating this raised bed, but that is obviously a project for later, and so I'm not, you know, I'm not paying too much attention to the Spanish lavender. I haven't done a really good job keeping it pruned. It's kind of oddly shaped because I planted this bearded iris here that's moving into it. So it's happy. I might as well leave it. The bees are all over it, but you can see it's March and it's blooming absolutely beautifully. So we had to go to the big box store to get that paper to put around the gazebo to protect it from moisture. And while we were there, of course, the Spanish lavender was for sale. And it was these big lavenders, these big pots that were not very expensive at all. So I was tempted and I gave in to the temptation and I bought 5 of them. So these are 3-gallon containers, and I think I got them for $24 each, which is pretty good. Here's the plant tag right here. I don't think this plant tag is very specific for this lavender because normally you want to plant this in pretty infertile soil. You don't want to over fertilize these plants, and the plant tag says fertile, moist, but well-drained soil and fertilize in early spring. So that's not really the information that I know about lavender, but you know, who knows? There's all different ways to grow plants, but I've always learned that you don't want to fertilize this type of lavender, and it likes really infertile soil. And then you do want to water it, but you want to make sure that it has really, really well-draining, kind of rocky, gravelly soil, I would say. So like I was saying, I got 5 of them, and my plan is to kind of put these all around the garden in different spots, because as they grow, they can get up to about 3 feet tall and wide. So they're going to be nice, beautiful balls of purple, and I thought it'd be really pretty just to kind of dot these around the garden. Oh my gosh, these bees. They are all over. All right, I've got all 5 Spanish lavender planted all around the garden. I think they look beautiful and they bring a beautiful pop of purple to my March garden. So first I want to say my neighbor over there is doing massive lawn mowing. It's just that time of year where everybody's mowing back everything. So I'm sorry about that sound in the background. But I want to show you guys the lavender planted, the Spanish lavender. They look so pretty. So first of all, we've got this one right here. I did end up planting them a little bit above grade. So basically the root ball, I left it about that high up, and that's just to make sure that there's plenty of drainage for these plants and the water doesn't pool into the plant, which is basically the kiss of death for this lavender. Then I've got another one right over there, and that's really rocky, yucky soil, so I think it'll be perfectly happy. So like I said, the Spanish lavender is going to get about a 3-foot size ball, and then the Miss Molly gets about a 4 to 5 foot size ball. So I think they're going to be really pretty right next to each other, especially if they bloom at the same time. The Miss Molly magenta color and then the Spanish lavender purple. I think that'll be gorgeous. Then we have one right here in the center island. I think it's really pretty and I think it really complements the purple annuals that Jason and I just planted all around the gazebo. Oh, I just think that that's gorgeous. Really beautiful. I did another one in the center island over in front here. And this spot was a spot that I had transplanted a whole bunch of this verbena, and I was kind of babying it a little bit and trying to leave it, but by babying it, it allowed all these weeds to grow up all around here. So that's what I was doing, was pulling out all of these weeds. I'm hoping, I left some of the verbena in and I'm hoping it'll grow back because I think that that color along with the Spanish lavender will look really pretty. Very similar to the Miss Molly butterfly bush and the Spanish lavender combination. And then finally we have this one right here, right by my poplar tulip tree. This is absolutely hands down the worst soil in my entire garden. Very, very rocky and just horrible. So I think this guy is going to be perfectly happy in this spot. Now let me show you my last year's March blooming garden. It's always been a little bit of an issue because like I said, the soil is so terrible here. We did amend the soil after I planted this blooming garden, but you can kind of see it right now. First of all, I have these beautiful osteospermum that are doing its job. It's starting to bloom again. I have an azalea back there that is not blooming. But there's buds on it, so it's just a little bit late. And then I did have some heath or heather, I don't remember which one. And this one didn't last because of watering issues. I mean, it's trying to come back. This one's blooming right here. So one good thing is I did get this creeping Jenny to kind of spread a little bit, which is what I wanted. But I have weeds absolutely everywhere. So this March blooming garden, I would say, I'd give it a 2 out of 10. Not the greatest, but that's okay. They can't all be winners. And like I said, we had watering issues and we had soil issues right here. But the osteospermum looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, what I should have chosen for my March blooming garden last year was this homestead verbena. I know I've been showing you guys this nonstop. I just can't get over how incredibly beautiful it is. It is so gorgeous and it's been blooming all March long. So this was actually my April blooming garden plant last year. I think it should have been my March one just because that's when it just started blooming, but it's really, really beautiful. So even if you kind of mess up a little bit with your blooming garden and don't get the months exactly right, because you do it every single month, you're still going to get beautiful blooms, which I have right here in my homestead verbena. And now I hope I'll have lots of Spanish lavender blooming in March as well. So you guys, let me know in the comment section below what you are planting in your March blooming garden. Let us know what zone you're in as well, just so that when we take a look, we can get some good ideas. I hope you all enjoyed this and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.